India pushes back against US and EU sanctions, accuses West of double standards over Russian oil. In recent days, India has strongly pushed back against the United States and the European Union, accusing them of double standards over their trade dealings with Russia while criticizing India for continuing to import Russian oil amidst the ongoing war in Ukraine. But is India really the culprit here? Let's break it down. Trump's tariff threat. The stakes rise. On August 4, 2025, Donald Trump didn't just threaten India with 25% tariffs on goods, he doubled down. In a social media post, Trump warned that he would substantially raise those tariffs in response to India's continued purchase of Russian crude oil. He said, "India is damaging the global effort to stop Russia's war machine." But here's where it gets tricky. Is India really the one to blame, or is there more to this? Subscribe and like the EU's sanctions on India's refineries. Meanwhile, the European Union has slapped sanctions on Nayara Energy, one of India's major private oil refiners, which is majority owned by Russia. The EU also banned the import of refined oil made from Russian crude, which hits India's oil refiners hard. Let's be clear, this is a major blow to India's energy sector. India responds, defending its sovereignty. India's Ministry of External Affairs fired back, making it clear that India had every right to secure affordable energy for its people. Randhir Jaiswal, the spokesperson, explained, India began importing Russian oil because traditional supplies were diverted to Europe after the conflict began. He added, at that time, the US actively encouraged India's imports to stabilize global energy markets. So why the sudden shift in narrative? Double standards? Let's talk. Here's the kicker. While India is being pressured, the US and EU are still importing goods from Russia. The US continues to buy uranium for its nuclear plants, palladium for electric vehicles, and fertilizers from Russia. And the EU? Their imports of LNG from Russia set new records in 2024. So why is India being singled out? India's point is clear. It's unfair to accuse India of fueling Russia's war effort when the US and EU are doing the same. Isn't that a double standard? The bigger economic picture. India has saved billions by buying discounted Russian oil, which has helped keep energy prices stable for millions of Indian consumers. This wasn't just a random decision. It was about securing energy security for a nation of over 1.4 billion people. But now, those same nations are criticizing India while continuing to trade with Russia. The EU's energy imports in 2024 alone were worth $77.9 billion, higher than India's total trade with Russia, which was $68.7 billion. So again, is this fair? Impact on India's trade and energy security. The US is India's largest export market, with $87 billion in trade in 2024, while India imported only $41 billion from the US, creating a $46 billion trade deficit for the US. Trump's tariffs on Indian goods, if raised, could severely disrupt this delicate trade balance. On top of that, the EU sanctions on Indian refiners are a direct threat to India's oil industry, which relies heavily on refining cheap Russian oil for export, especially to Europe. India's diplomatic stance, a sovereign right. India's stance isn't just about energy, it's about sovereignty. Former diplomat Anil Trigunayat put it simply, the West is changing the goalposts to suit its convenience, and India has every right to call them out. India is standing up for its national interests, and that's something no country should apologize for. Trade negotiations, the real issue? But there's more at play here. Trump's tariffs might also be part of a broader bargaining strategy in ongoing trade negotiations between India and the US, particularly over agriculture. The US wants access to India's agricultural markets, but India has long protected its small farmers with high tariffs. Opening up to US agribusiness could displace millions of Indian farmers, making it politically impossible for India. At the end, global trade dilemma. So, is India guilty of supporting Russia's war? Not according to India's own logic. In fact, India is simply protecting its people's interests, securing affordable energy, and responding to global market dynamics. The US and EU's double standards make it clear that this isn't just about Russia. It's about power, trade, and control. But here's the question. Can the US and EU really continue accusing India when they're doing the same things themselves? The answer is more complicated than it seems. So, what do you think? Is India right to continue buying Russian oil, or is it time to reconsider its position? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more in-depth analysis on global trade and politics.